Hey guys, this is Mark with All American Health, non-emergency medical transportation company. We also provide consulting services, B2B, B2C services. We help you grow your private pay business. I had a great conversation with one of my clients on Thursday. We discussed him growing his company. And inside of that discussion, he spoke with me about obtaining certification in the area that he's in. And his issue wasn't finding clients. His issue was being authorized to do business in that certain area. And in that certain area, there's quite a bit of bureaucracy, and it's quite heavy paperwork. And the way they go about doing things is different. But it shouldn't have stopped him from starting and running his company. If you're a small business owner, you don't wait for someone to give you permission to get stuff done. You don't wait for someone to say, I'm going to allow you to get things done. You find a way to get it done. You don't sit around and say, well, they haven't given me permission. This gentleman was waiting for a certification for 9 months in the area that he was providing services. And the first thing, it wasn't the first thing he said, but one of the things that jumped out at me that he said was, I'm waiting for them because I don't want to get in trouble. Today is the best day you could take action. The advice that I gave him, and I give anyone this advice, if it's taking you 9 months to get something done, you really don't want to do it. Nothing in the non-emergency medical transportation industry should take 9 months if you're truly focused on getting it done. If there's a will, there's a way. How much money did you lose in 9 months? If you already have clients lined up, let's say, a 9 times 4 is 36 weeks. Say you're doing $2,000 a week, which is a very small amount in the NEMT industry. I mean, you lost out on like $75,000 already. How many of us could find something to do with $75,000? Like, that doesn't make sense. Hell, with $75,000, you could have bribed any and everybody that you needed to get that certification. No, I'm not encouraging you guys to bribe people. That's illegal. I'm being sarcastic. You got to say that these days. But just think about it. It's taking you 9 months. It must not be that important to you. And if it's not that important to you, then that means NEMT is not a priority for you, which is perfectly fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But some of you guys got to start being real with yourselves. Maybe your success level is due to, or your lack of success is due to the fact that you're just not putting in the work. My advice to this gentleman, it was very simple. If I was you, I would pack a bag, book a hotel for at least a week. I would book a hotel room in front of, or the closest hotel to the facility that gives out those certifications. And I would park myself in their office for the next 5 days. If I got to do it for 2 weeks, I do it for 2 weeks. Whatever I spend over them 2 weeks is going to pale in comparison to the amount of money that I'm missing out on by not being certified in that area to provide services. You already got contracts that are ready to go. You're waiting for authorization. If that's the only thing keeping you from making a lot of money, you need to get to it. And between you and I, there have been plenty of times and plenty of opportunities that I started doing before I was authorized to do them. I don't wait for nobody. Time doesn't wait for me. I don't have time to wait for anybody. And I'm not going to. Like, that's not something that you can find yourself doing when you're running a business, waiting around. If you're not closing deals, you're not making money, you need to find something else to do, or you're just proving that this is truly not a priority for you. And that's okay, but you got to get to a point where you're saying, let me be honest about what I'm doing this for. Some of you don't want to make a lot of money in the NEMT industry. You want to just make enough to keep you from going to a 9-to-5, and that's cool. Others of you think you want to grow a business, but you're more so seduced by the idea of having your own business. You're not really trying to get things going. And then there's others who want to grow a business. You're just doing it the wrong way. You might be stuck in that rut with brokers, and you don't have any guidance on how to get out of that rut. Because if you stop providing services with brokers, your income just shrivels up and dies. So you want to put yourself in a position where you understand what you're doing more than anyone else, and you're real about what your priorities are. There's no certification in the world that takes 9 months if you're focused on getting that certification done. It just there's no level of backlog for a certification. Now, if it's a state authorization or a state clearance, yeah, I can see it taking 9 months. But even if it's been 9 months, you should just be waiting for it in the mail. Even state governments don't take that long. Not for something like this in this industry. You literally got to get it done the right way. And I'll give you an example. And I always like to use stuff that I did in my past as an example. In the county that I work in, they require that you have a authorization or a certification. It has to go in front of a commissioner, a board of commissioners. And you literally have to go sit in front of the board and get it done. When I first got into the industry, due to my background, I didn't feel comfortable applying for that program myself. I just didn't feel comfortable doing it. So I actually brought a partner on to get that authorization done, or to pass the board. I coached her up on it, walked her through the process, made sure she was ready to go, paid her handsomely for doing it, and then let her loose. And it took maybe 2 months. Maybe it took 3 months, because the board sets dates when they do hearings. But it's not like it took forever. It was a 3-month process from beginning to end. But one, I'm gonna pay the cost to do whatever it takes to get something done. Two, the reason you pay to get it done is because whatever you're spending to get a process done, what's gonna come back to you is gonna be 100 to 1,000 fold. That one certification that I'm speaking about, that one stamp of approval made me hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million. Just having that one authorization. Being able to, and it was just a piece of paper with a seal on it. But that seal, it put me on a path that just, it's an unreal path now. And as a result, my company is still here. So don't let an excuse like, oh, I'm waiting on somebody else to get something done. We on the back side of this video, so I'm gonna give you a nugget. Like I say all the time, y'all don't get past like minute 3. Most of you don't. So I don't really give deep information at the beginning. I always give it at the end. This is how you get something done when you're dealing with a state or local agency. First, you clear your schedule for the whole week. Starting Monday morning, you're in front of them. You're introducing yourself in a nice, polite fashion. When you get in front of the person that's making decisions, when you get that set time, it'll probably come on a Wednesday or a Thursday. They're gonna say, look, Marcus, we'll meet with you at 10 a.m. What you do is you find out how many people are gonna be in the meeting. If it's just you and that other authority, what you do is you bring them a coffee and a hot cup of water. Marcus, why you bring them a hot coffee and a hot cup of water? Some people drink coffee, other people drink tea. What you want to be able to do is walk up to them and say, hey, I brought you a cup of coffee. If they say, oh, they don't want the cup of coffee, you politely smile and say, well, I also brought you some hot water, and here's some tea bags. You dig in your pocket and pass them a couple tea bags. Why are you doing this? It's not to be a dick. It's actually to let them know that you're willing to take that extra step to make sure this process gets done, and you're going to cut out any negative things that they may deny you or keep you from getting that process done. That impresses people. They grin about it because usually they're annoyed that they got to deal with you. They don't want to see you. They would rather email you. An email is one-sided. I can respond when I feel like it. But if I'm standing in front of you, that means I get to hold you accountable. So that's how you do a situation like that. You make sure that you're as polite as possible and say, what is going to get me to the point where I'm authorized and allowed to get this authorization or this certification or this seal of approval? Once they give you that list, you have to dedicate yourself to making sure everything on that list is taken care of, because you don't want to go back to that person without being in compliance. You want to go back to them and be like, look, I did everything you asked me to do. Can you go ahead and get this done? And 9 times out of 10, that individual will expedite your situation once they see that you care. If you show them that you care, they'll definitely care. Hopefully this has been helpful. You guys know where to look me up if you need my help.